So, Reverend Helen Orr, thank you so much for taking a moment to chat with the Aussie Wire. We're here in the foyer in the atrium at the launch of the Alliance for Responsible Citizenship, and I believe that you were actually, you were kind of there at the very beginning when this was sort of first proposed. So tell us a little bit about how that came about.
I think there's a group of people, key people in the country who, from left and right in terms of politics, wanted a better way. Sure. And Jordan was definitely, and Philippa and David and my husband James Orr, who's a professor at the university, and a couple of other people saw that there needed to be something that could bring together key players in our society over the division of whatever else beliefs they had into the ideas you've got here: truth, freedom, hope. And I think I've just been talking to a quite well-known comedian, you know, there's so many different people here, and he said there needs to be a segment, a takeaway from this conference. And my takeaway would be, we are peddling hope. We're not privatising it. So at the moment, people, it's your own personal hope, your own personal dreams. This is a much more global idea. Because if we tell our children, I have a 12 and a 15-year-old, that actually you're just going to have to pedal to school, you're going to have to be a vegan because of the methane, you're never going to be able to fly anywhere again, because actually the whole world is disintegrating and everything's scarce and going, what hope is there for them? But if we actually say we're a brilliant, amazing, inventive people, we were told that the world would starve, but we invented new ways of doing that. This is just a problem to be overcome. The nature is wild and needs to be tamed. We're being told the wrong story. And this story is a story of hope. So I think if people could take away one soundbite, it would be, we are global hope makers.
That's brilliant, and as you've already pointed out, it ties in with the mission of the Aussie Wire absolutely brilliantly. So that's the better story. What went wrong with the old story? How did we get to the point that we had to upgrade it to a better one?
Do you know, I have to say, I'm a priest.
Sure.
I think that we lost sight, whether we have a faith or none, we lost sight of those Judeo-Christian values that underpin the whole of our Western culture. We kind of thought we could just leave them on one side, but actually things like joy are such a uniquely spiritual, you can't really get away without thinking metaphysically. And I think we just started looking inwards rather than upwards. And when you do that, you lose hope. Because actually hope is what's unseen. You know, in the Bible they talk about something, faith as being something that is yet unseen. And so we've stopped people being risk takers. Almost everybody I know who's made money is a risk taker. I mean, we basically sold 5 properties and bought one in Cambridge, and now it's a kind of, my husband would call it a kind of conservative kibbutz. I call it a kind of hippie commune for all the Ph.D. students that come to us who escape the madness that they see around them. And these people are doing amazing things. And one of them is praying with Peterson today, and has, you know, and I mean hope on every level. You know, how we eat, how we behave. This guy actually went on the carnivore diet they do and is now a slim 12, having been a big child. So, you know, we can improve our lives and we can encourage our children to do so, but by putting limitations on ourselves, the right limitations, the boundaries we need, that is the problem. We've become about instant gratification. And I would put it down to 3 things. Technology, that we've harnessed in the wrong way. We need to harness it in a good way. So my child has a dumb phone. I don't know if anyone knows what that means, but she doesn't have a smartphone because I've looked at the stats for 11-year-old girls and I don't want her being a bulimic, a self-harm, or a suicide victim. So it's really simple. Just get 10 people in a class to say no to phones. None of her classroom have phones because we decided as parents to take charge. If you're a parent, be a parent. It doesn't matter if your child doesn't want to go to bed. You know, we have to have boundaries, and we're not helping our children. And I would say, so I know this is quite a long, complex answer, but I would say Rousseau-led learning, which is all about what's personally in it for you, is destroying equality. So the idea that my child will know more about capitalism or liberalism than my husband, who, you know, has studied some economics or philosophy, he's actually a philosopher, that they don't need to know men from the past like Plato, Socrates and Augustine because they were white men. Sorry, that's who was there. We can't just rewrite history because we'd like it to be different. We have to be proud of our history so we can build on it to have a diverse and good future. I've just listened to Catherine Berbazin, and she said, if you're not proud of your country, if you don't know what you're conserving, you'll lose it. So I think so the first thing is that. The first thing is definitely that we need to think about boundaries. And the second thing is, encouraging creativity within those boundaries.
Right.
Because if I say to you, oh yeah, you can be a boy or a girl, in the old do you ever watch The Life of Brian?
Yes.
Is that hilarious? Well, what are you going to do with a woman? We can't be those things.
We will defend his right to have a woman, even though we can't do it.
And the problem is that technology has caught up with that. Why aren't we helping hundreds of thousands of malaria victims? Why are we giving to a few privileged people in the West their dreams and desires, which are actually disasters and nightmares? And if you do have reassignment surgery, you're 50% more likely to commit suicide or die by the age of 50.
Yeah.
Why aren't people telling their children this? Why are they just saying, oh, be what you want? No. You are what you are, and deal with it. That's another boundary. You being man and me being woman is a boundary we've been given, whether we think it's God-given or not.
Yeah.
Why do we have a right for invasive surgery when people are dying from cataracts and all sorts of things that are preventable or going blind and that? So that's the second thing is boundary, and then creativity within it. Once you know that you are a man, you can do a pantomime and dress up as a woman and be funny. I'm not saying you can't have experimentation, but my kids can't play anymore as they used to swap role plays, And then the third thing I would say is the metaphysics, as I talked about at the beginning, looking upwards. Whether you have a faith or not, look at the universe. Somebody said, oh, we're going to run out of gold. And the guy said, look up at the sky, these are metal planets. We're going to know how to source that gold and mine it. So it's having the bigger vision, and maybe that is what this conference is all about, the bigger vision that encompasses truth, freedom, hope, joy, love, patience, and not being about you. When it's all about you, it becomes very intense, but when you actually care about the people around you, then you're building community, and that is the hope for the future.
Well, what a beautiful and unexpected conversation. Thank you so much for taking a moment to chat with us. Really appreciate it.
You take care.